double Grant Stone unboxing.
Because we haven't covered Grant Stone in a bit. You know, it's one of these brands where they speak for themselves so well that, you know, it's like, how many times can you cover, like, this is what Grant Stone is, this is how crazy good the quality is per dollar spent, here's the whole story of them, they're made in China, like Wyatt worked in that factory for years as like an apprentice with his dad, or like learning the ropes with the factory, started his own little brand, you know, making a small batch of things, and then it slowly became arguably the highest quality per dollar spent boot that you can buy. And I'm not talking the highest quality in the world, I'm talking per dollar spent. Grant Stone's it's tough to beat. I don't know, I'm trying to think of another brand that's even close. Like, honestly, shameless plug, Jim Green. You know, Jim Green's another similar one where they just have made a name for themselves because of the value they provide. And Jim Green is like that workwear. Well, you know, Jim Green's from South Africa, and so a lot of people in the US have adopted them as workwear. But they make anything from like casual boots or casual shoes to chukkas to work boots to the rugged African Trooper, which as far as I know is their beefiest, heaviest duty boot that we design with, and we designed this whole upper with them. But Taylor honestly designed the vast majority of it. He was the one doing the legwork with it, and doubled up the layers of leather, made it really beefy, fully lined. You know, it's just a beefy boot, and it's impossible to beat this on a value level, or at least Jim Green, not specifically this. Like, it's tough to beat Jim Green on a value level because that's what they do, that's what they specialize in. They've got certain advantages that other brands just can't do, and they're already at scale because they're a South African company. Similar concept with Grant Stone, this hand movement, similar concept. Because, you know, it's China, that factory's already existing. He already had like 10 years spent time in that factory, working on boot companies, working with factories, doing all this stuff. So it was one of these things where all they had to do was turn the key, like, hey, what if instead of like these really cheap stuff that China is known for, what happens if we make the highest quality thing possible? How much could we sell for? Like, how much do we have to sell for? Where can we land in the market if we make that one boot that bucks the trend of, oh, it's cheap Chinese junk? Because that trend is justified, because of so much of the stuff you buy from Amazon, so much of the stuff you buy from like department stores is just that race to the bottom of the barrel. And so China can make it a lot of times for just as cheap as any other country, especially China being one of these giant manufacturing countries. You just see a ton of cheap Chinese stuff that you can't make here in America for as cheap. And if you could make it in America for as cheap, they would probably be just as terrible. But it's because that stigma and because that's the trend, that's what people think. So when a brand comes out, it's like, we make these in China and they're better than like all your American made boots, and I'll prove it to you. You know, I like when a brand goes out on a limb and does that kind of thing. These have been the most successful and surprise success of the year. We came up with this concept just because we wear so many boots here in the shop. Me, Taylor, who is over the manufacturing, my little brother wears a ton of these boots. And both of those guys at the exact same time were like, I wish there was just a little thin insole that doesn't change the sizing, that just eases in the break-in period of these really heavy heritage boots where you're standing on really hard veg tan for the first couple months. And so we came up with a boot breaker concept, just found some high impact foam, abrasion resistant fabric on top, put the little boot breaker logo on there, and these things sold like crazy. So much so that people are like, we want leather boot breakers, make us leather boot breakers. And people have been putting these in shoes to kind of sure them up, the really soft, squishy foam to get that heritage feel underneath your foot, that compression that gives you that custom like glove-like footprint inside of your footwear. Now you can put it in any footwear. Also great for taking up space if your boots are a little bit too big. But the coolest thing that people have come up with is they've been stacking these so you get a little bit of squish underneath of that veg tan insole. And that kind of combines the best of both these worlds. You get a little bit of the squish, you get that impact resistance, that shock absorption, while still having that veg tan leather. Doesn't smell nearly as bad. It compresses the shape of your foot, that heritage feel underfoot. And you can get that by just stacking them together. And so because of that, we released a couple different thicknesses of the veg tan leather, but also we just dropped the thicker boot breaker, the foam boot breaker. It's about twice the thickness of the black boot breaker, so it's around 4 millimeters, so it's gonna give you a little more squish, take up a little bit more room. Let me know what works, what doesn't work, because this is kind of a new project that we've been prototyping with you guys based off your feedback. So thank you guys for supporting this. Give us some good feedback and check out the boot breakers below. Obviously, I always lean towards domestic manufacturing, handmade goods right here in the United States. That doesn't mean you have to be exclusive with it. You know, it's like, it's funny with the internet. People like, you said you like American made goods. Why are you talking good about this other boot that's made in China? I'm like, Because it's how brains work. It's how reviews work, stuff like that. And what fun would it be if a reviewer just had one specific thing that like, everything else is crap. This is the only good thing. No, you want like a well-rounded reviewer, right? So that's what we try to do. What is this knife? NAF Knives out of Utah. Sent us a bunch of these. Let's see what this one looks like. Ooh, is that glow in the dark? Are you kidding me? It reminds me of my old Game Boy. You know, so the Game Boy Advance clear colors. This has to be glow in the dark. I think I just don't have the right light. Anyway, let's unbox these because I got 2 of the Grant Stones to unbox. And basically what I want to do is ask you guys which one you want me to cut. Because we got 2 options. We're in Q4. It's been a while since we've done Grant Stone, so it'll be fun to do another cut in half. Check in on them, see what they're working on, see what they have going on. I think it's probably been a year and a half, 2 years since we reviewed them. So let's unbox this one. What is this? The Garrison boot, black waxed. 11.5. Gotta love the Grant Stone packaging, hand signed. It's a nice touch. You don't realize how big of a pain that is to do until you do it. And we quit doing it because it takes so much time. Josh or Posh, one of the two. Shout out to Posh Josh. Okay, let's see what it is. Oh, I thought it was a Chelsea boot. Honestly, I thought this was a Chelsea boot. I hadn't seen it, but I swear he said he was sending me a Chelsea boot. Maybe that's just what's in the other box. Okay, this is the Garrison boot black wax deer. Wow, that's cool. Gallon, which is a new tannery that I somehow missed until like the last few weeks. It's a US tannery that doesn't get any coverage. The Gallon's Teton Waxy Stag tannage utilizes white-tailed deer local to the Great Lakes states. Culled annually during the fall hunting season, the hides do not go to waste. Gallon's proprietary light metal, alum or aluminum tannage, Teton tannage is the base for this leather, after which it is retanned, introducing color, wax, and oils to dye, lubricate, and fill the typically soft, spongy fibers associated with deer, which is very true, actually. You're in luck, because my uncle literally just gave this to me last night, Jaren's dad. And this is deerskin. You know, this is your classic mountain man deerskin. He didn't know he was getting a little promo of his little kits here. Sweet uncle that just gave us, because what did I give him? Oh, we gave him a prototype camera harness, and so he gave this to me in return. So this is like your striker for your flint and tinder. Got a little bit of flint. This is funny, because I was literally just sitting there. He gave it to me last night. A little bit of the kindling. And this is deer hide. See how soft and malleable this stuff is? Super floppy. It's surprisingly strong, super soft, super supple, but with deer hide, it gets very stretchy. To get that suppleness, a lot of times it's tumbled over and over and over. It's a thinner hide than cows because deer are a lot smaller. And so you can make little patches out of this and it's really strong, but it's not gonna hold weight like a tougher leather does. Let me just show you this. But the idea, put a little ash cloth down, put a little kindling down, and you just strike the flint. Ooh, that was a good one. So fun. What are the chances I just happen to have that? Shout out to Uncle Kev. So this is not soft. Just listen to how, compared to a soft leather. Not that that's the most scientific test, but that's the best way I can think of how to describe this to you. You can see how firm it is just from the amount of pull-up you get and that character that comes up just from bending the leather. Watch this. Some really heavy pull-up, but I think it's a different kind of pull-up because I think this is the really heavy wax they put on top that's almost like when you bend plastic and it starts to lighten up as you bend it more and more. You're breaking that solidified structure of the wax on top, which when you break that structure, it doesn't like break the leather, it's just that thin layer of wax. It lightens up. And so when you put a little heat and friction onto it, darkens back down, lays back down. But that's a a much firmer leather than I expected for a deer hide. So how much does this boot cost? $395. Oh, I totally forgot what I was talking about. How did I get so distracted? The alum or the aluminum tannage is a way that they tan leather laces. You know, it's one of the strongest ways you can tan a leather. You know, there's a latigo way of approaching it, then there's the alum or alum tan way of approaching it. But most of the high quality laces you see, the laces we carry, a lot of them are the alum tan because they're so strong. The lacing that you see in baseball mitts. Goodyear welted, Leo Last, Teton Waxy Stag from Gallum Tannery, full grain kip leather, lining leather. That's one thing that Grant Stone is undefeated in. Their lining leather is so nice. And like the cool thing that they do is they hand select. And there's some other brands that do it, but I think Grant Stone has done an exceptionally good job of choosing specific materials from specific tanneries, no matter where it's tanned, to make exactly the boot they want. 270-degree flat welt with a heel rand, polished brass eyelets, vegetable tan leather insole, welt, and midsole, cork filling and steel shank, full grain leather heel counters, Vibram cavity wedge outsole. Yeah, that's a good looking little boot, huh? Like kind of a classy wedge sole. It kind of reminds me of some of the Aldens you see on a wedge sole. Kind of making the wedge sole a little bit classier option. I like it, and this leather is crazy. So, I want to cut this one. If you want me to cut this, let me know, because the next one also has some really interesting leather. So, let's do it. Okay, box number 2. The non-glow-in-the-dark, but also maybe glow-in-the-dark, magnetic, but also maybe not magnetic NAF knife that didn't actually need to be used on the unboxing, but hey, they're fun. You thought deer hide was weird. How about a little kangaroo hide? Look at this stuff. We've had these boots for a little bit. But this one's interesting because it's kangaroo. Kangaroo is a really unique leather because a lot of people say that kangaroo leather is the strongest leather when you get down to those really thin thicknesses, like that 1 millimeter thickness. Allegedly, kangaroo is way stronger than cowhide, way stronger than deer hide, way stronger than kudu, all these unique leathers you see. And so maybe we'll cover that a little bit more in the main video if we cut these in half, a little bit more of like the other purposes and uses of kangaroo leather and how we can extrapolate the values from the other uses, if that makes sense. But I really like the texture of this. It's really pretty. It's like a really tight little pebbled texture. You can tell it's really thin, but it's interesting because if it is really that strong, it makes you wonder why like not every single boot's made out of kangaroo. You know, if you want like a nice tight little dressy boot, is it the stretching? Is it the wrinkling? Like what is it? Is it the ethical reasons? You know, because kangaroos are pretty cute, and when people see cute animals being used for meat or leather, they don't like it. They get a little upset. Understandable, but also, you know, both of these are good options to cut. This boot, I didn't even tell you the information on it. All over the place because these boots are fun. Oh, the Ottawa boot natural kangaroo's on sale. Oh, because there's only a size 6 left. They're probably not doing them again actually then. So, you snooze, you lose. Looks like we won't be cutting that one because I don't know if they're doing a restock on them. So, sorry Charlie, looks like I'll be wearing these bad boys. You never know, we might just use that as an example to really explain and try to test some of the claims about kangaroo leather. Oh, I guess I could try them on actually. I could try the 10s on. They give you some good information. Try the 10s. What am I wearing? Just the rugged African Troopers because they're so freaking comfy. Okay, this is a size 10D. I'm a 10 on the Brannock. I like a little bit of wiggle room. I'm not super keen on having my toes squished all day, every day. That seems about right. You know, at least initial impressions. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think I would go true to Brannock for me at just a regular width. Leo Last runs half a size larger. Our customers typically take our Leo Last footwear a half size down from their average sneaker size, or same size as their Goodyear welted footwear. So, half a size large. So half a size down from your average sneaker size. I'm usually 10 and a half or 11 in sneakers, so this is a 10. I'm a 10 on the Brannock. So that checks out for me. True to Brannock, half a size down from your sneaker. I think you'll be just happy. Where's my toe? My toe goes to about there, roughly. My toes are there. And obviously you don't want them at the very front because it's a more pointy dress boot last. Just to show you comparison. a super wide toe box compared to a pretty narrow toe box. See the diff? Quite significant. So that's what I'd recommend anyway. It's like true to Brannock seems to be my sizing for Grant Stone. Obviously go off your own sizing that you've had with other boots based off of what they recommend. Always defer and refer to the brand sizing guide, not mine, because people still get mad. And shout out to Grant Stone, making some of the highest quality boots in the world from one of the places in the world that is not associated with the highest quality stuff. And they really made a splash in the market for that. They make really cool stuff, unique materials. And so let me know which one of these you want me to cut, maybe both, just to do a little highlight. And yeah, thank you guys for watching these. It's fun just to get on and like do some unboxings, ramble about some cool stuff, kind of feel out what I find interesting, what I could find some unique angles. What are these? Unique angles? Unique angles for doing different types of videos to keep it interesting. Because it's like, how many times can you cut apart a Goodyear welted boot and still be interesting? You gotta find new angles, you gotta find new approaches, tell a story in a different way, tell a story through the boot, through the product, through the material. And that's part of the fun, but the hard thing about the main channel. And so I appreciate you guys supporting this and give me some ideas and your opinions on these. So let me know below and check these out below. Check out the Rugged African Troopers below, the NAF knives, anything else we talked about, I'll put links below to those. So thank you guys. See ya.